to a new city is an incredible opportunity to meet new people and experience a new place. While the idea of starting afresh can be scary, embracing your new city faster will help you to settle in faster and get accustomed to your new home. While different people may have different approaches to settling in, I am going to be sharing in this video my own tried and tested tip based on my personal experience. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Getting out of your comfort zone and trying new things quickly will be the best way to adjust quickly to a new city. Even if you are typically introverted or like the quiet type, getting open and social early can make a new city feel like home really quick. Here are my trusted tips to settling into a new city and thriving. Number 1, unpack immediately. When you arrive to a new city, a lot of things will be unfamiliar. You don't want your home to be one of that. So unpack your boxes and get settled into your city as quickly as possible, because having everything organized and in the right place will start to make your new place feel like home really quickly, and you definitely want to do that. It took me so long to really settle in when I moved back to the UK, and I can tell you that the fact that I didn't unpack my stuff contributed a lot to that. Another side of unpacking that I would like to talk about is unpacking mentally. I'll be honest that I didn't unpack mentally, and by not unpacking mentally, I mean that I didn't initially embrace my new environment. I was still carrying with me a lot of my experiences from back in Nigeria, and it made it way more difficult for me to really settle into the weather, for me to really settle into finding food, for me to really settle into some of the challenges that comes with living abroad. So not unpacking mentally had me really sad a lot of the times. I was feeling very lonely, but once I unpacked, once I kind of sat down and said, you know what, this is where I am right now, I have to embrace the city. I started to plan how I was going to deal with the weather, because every time it was winter, I would cry, I would be so sad. But once I decided it was time to unpack mentally, I unpacked in such a way that I wrote down all of the things that I was challenged with when I hadn't unpacked, and I started to plan my strategy to dealing with those things. So one thing you want to do first is to unpack physically, your boxes and your belongings, and then unpack mentally. By unpacking mentally, you are adjusting your mindset, you are adjusting your psyche to the new environment that you find yourself, so that you can actually thrive. Because when you don't mentally unpack, you find out that you are here, but you are not here, right? There are so many things that you can kind of have an open mind to explore, but because you have not unpacked mentally, you have not embraced, you have not accepted your new reality, it will be difficult for you to settle in. Settling in was so difficult for me. It took me years to really say, you know what, this is where I am anyway. I might as well just start to live like I'm here. So you want to start by unpacking physically, and then give yourself the chance to also unpack mentally, so that you can embrace your new city and you can settle in properly and you can thrive. The second thing you can do to help you settle down in a new city easily and then thrive is to say yes to everything. By everything, I mean experiences and opportunities. Being open to new experiences will allow you to meet new people and establish new friendships. And putting yourself out there from the start will start to make your new city feel like home faster, and you start to make new memories. Saying yes for you can mean two things. First of all, it could be saying yes to opportunities and experiences. It could also be saying yes to being bold and just introducing yourself when you meet new people. When introducing yourself, you have to do this politely, and I would say that this can be awkward at first, but the more you do it, you get better at it. And it is also a great way to meet new people, who already share some of your interests. Regarding introducing yourself, when we first moved to Milton Keynes, and I was just trying to get used to the environment, to know the people, just know things that were happening around me, I went to a coffee bar one afternoon, just to have a cup of coffee and just sit down. And I overheard people talking about fashion and how it has evolved and how things have changed. And I, politely interjected, and we got talking. They were very warm. They brought me into the conversation, and up until now I still have close conversations and close communication with those people. With reference to being open to new experiences, one thing I recommend is, if you see a flyer around, maybe you go to a certain church and then you see flyers around, have a look at it. If it's something that you would normally not be interested in, be curious. Just say, you know what, if you can afford to go and have a look. That's one thing I started doing when we moved to Milton Keynes. When I see any flyer or I hear anything on the radio about an event happening somewhere for children or something happening somewhere for adults, Once I find out more information about any of those events, I usually will go there or go there with my children. It was one way that really opened us up to things that were happening around Milton Keynes, and right now I can actually say that we are fully settled, and we are not just settled, we are thriving in Milton Keynes. So I end it by saying that the more you're out of your home and exploring your new city, the easier, the better, and the faster you're able to settle in and thrive in the new city. The third thing you can do to settle in fast in a new city and thrive is by joining a group. Making friends in a new city is the fastest way to make you feel like home. Joining a group of like-minded people who share the same interests as you is going to really help you in settling into your new city. If you have any specific hobbies or interests, I would recommend that you check out meetup.com. Maybe you'll find people who have the same interests as you, that align with you, and you guys can meet up and, be friends. Alternatively, you can also join Facebook groups. Check the city where you're in, find the name of that city where you're in on Facebook, type it on Facebook, mom groups in so and so place, mom group in this environment, mom group in that environment, or just whatever it is, student in this area, black student in this area. Just type whatever. Facebook is going to bring up a lot of different groups, and then you start to comb through it and see which one aligns with you that you can join. Joining a lot of these groups will be very advantageous to you in terms of like asking questions about your new environment, things that you're not sure about, things that you don't know. In fact, there are some of the groups where people even offer to give people things that they already have that new people who are just entering the environment or just coming to the city may need. So you want to sit down and be very adventurous. Just type anything. Use your location, use your interest, use your children. If you have a child that has a certain type of need, type it on Facebook. I can guarantee you that there is a group with moms or people who have the same kind of interest or the same kind of situation, and then you can find yourself a community that will help you settle and thrive in the city that you are new in. The number 4 thing you want to do when you move into a new city to enable you settling and thrive is to sort out medical needs. Especially when you have children, you don't want to wait till your kids start to fall sick before you start to worry about, where is the GP? What do I need to do to register? And all of that. Go on Google, like I've always said. Type your postcode. You will see a list of different hospitals or GPs around you. Find the nearest one, reach out to them, and then find out what you need for you to be able to get registered. Immediately you find out that information, go and get yourself registered so that at least you are prepared for, who knows, anything may happen tomorrow. If you're not sure about which of the GPs that you have seen that you want to choose, you can ask in some of those Facebook groups that I mentioned in the last point. Ask them in the group that, you're in this environment, you're thinking of choosing a GP. Have they had any experience with some of these GPs? Can they recommend anyone? Trust me, you will find somebody who is going to be kind enough to tell you, don't use this one, use this other one. When I was trying to get our own GP, I listed out a couple of GPs that I found around us based on their location and distance to us. Then I went into one of those Facebook groups that I belong to, and I asked in the group, I'm trying to pick a GP in this environment. Which ones do you guys recommend? Have you had any experience with any of them? Somebody was so kind to reach out to me. She actually DM'd me. She said, these ones, they're a bit nasty, don't go to them. These ones are better off. And that's how I chose our GP, and I've not had any regrets. So definitely make sure you sort out medical needs. Once you finish unpacking, that is the next thing you want to settle, especially when you have children. You always want to prepare yourself for unexpected events like the children falling sick and you having to run to the hospital or anything like that. The next thing you can do to help you settle in a new city faster is by finding neighborhood lists and groups to join. Joining your neighborhood group on platforms like Nextdoor will be one thing that I would seriously recommend. These platforms keep you updated about things happening in your environment. For example, there was a time that Adam's grandma sent Adam a gift, and unfortunately she put a wrong address. When the delivery came, the neighbor who received the item for us went into our Nextdoor neighborhood group and typed out Adam's name. I was like, Adam Gregory-jonah, who is Adam Gregory-jonah? What is the address? That this item was delivered to me wrongly, but because it was this our street, I know that somebody in this group owns this item. So I responded in a group that, it belonged to us, and then she gave me her address. I went there, I picked it up. There are so many other information that you find in the group. For example, some people have more information around year-end pickup of dirt, trash, and all of that. I didn't know. When I wanted to find information about when the bin was going to be picked up, I went into our Nextdoor neighborhood group and I asked, does anyone know when the bin is going to be picked up this month? So those sort of information about your environment is always up to date on your neighborhood Nextdoor. So you want to find your own for your environment. How I got registered to Nextdoor was that the environment, I don't know who coordinated it, they sent out a printout that had the code and the information, and said us that are new tenants or new neighbors in the environment, we should join the group. When he came, I scanned, well, actually somebody barcoded it, so I scanned it, and then immediately he asked me to download the app. I downloaded the app and I signed on to it. That's how I joined our neighborhood next door group. Also, on Nextdoor, you can ask people for recommendation for restaurant, recommendation for cake maker, moving company, electrician. In fact, there was a group that someone created where she said we could offer our skill to other people for free, especially elderly people in the environment. So there are so many groups. There are groups based on your personal interest, groups based on the things that you like, groups based on cartoon, group based on comic, just different things. So I'm sure that there is a next door neighborhood group for your environment. You just need to check it or ask your neighbor, or just download the app next door and find your postcode or your street or your area information on there and join the group. You can make new friends. I recently also remember that some people mentioned in the group that they were trying to learn how to play squash, and before you knew it, there were like 20 other people who came out and said, oh, they were also interested. They came up with a little group and they started to meet up. In fact, I'm sure by now they would have met up for like 2 to 3 months. So things like that helps you to settle in the environment faster. One thing I would like to say is that when you start to make posts on Nextdoor, it might seem a little bit odd when you first start, because you're asking people that you don't know for information. But trust me, these people that you're asking, also they were in the same position that you are right now, and they were new, and they were also asking questions. And honestly, asking questions cuts your lag time or cuts your learning curve by more than half. So feel free to ask all of these questions: where to go to make friends, what to do in this new environment. Also, if you've seen anything in the environment that you're not sure about and you just need information, you can ask people, oh, I saw this today, can somebody explain this to me? You might think that it is a stupid question, but it's not stupid, because you're new, you need to know. You also will soon be an expert in the environment, and you will also be providing guidance and information to other newbies. So don't feel odd, don't feel any type of way. Ask people questions. If you're looking for where to take your children for football training, these people on this Nextdoor app, they are the best option, because they are your neighborhood. They know the ones that are closest to you, they know the ones that are farthest, and also they would have also experienced some of these things, so they can tell you the football coaches that are nasty that you shouldn't go to, or the ones that are the best, and all of that. The last but not the least on my list of what you need to do to settle in a new environment is honestly to reach out to family and friends. Moving into a new city can be very, very isolating and very challenging. So you want to keep close contact with the people that you had in your former life, in your former home, or whatever it is. This can make the transition a lot easier and less overwhelming and stressful and lonely for you. Be open to your friends and family about how you are feeling. I remember that when I first moved back, I was always crying. I was always calling my mom and saying I was feeling nervous. I was, afraid. I was just feeling like, oh, I'm in this new place where I just feel lost. I just feel like I don't have any family. I just feel like I'm thrown in a city where I don't know anybody. We will all feel like that at some point. So you want to keep close contact with your family. You want to be honest with them about how you're feeling. And then you also want to lean on them for support so that they can provide support for you. My mom was always calling. My brother was always calling. They were always keeping in touch just to make sure that they were helping me to bridge the gap of that loneliness as of that time. So you want to keep close contact with your families and friends in your former home, in your former life, in your former country, just so that by the time you are transitioning, they are there to support you through that transitioning process until you find your feet and you feel more comfortable in your new city. It is very important to remember that everyone experiences a move to a new city differently. So don't feel discouraged if it's taking you longer to settle into your city. It took me so long, but it is possible and it is doable. That's it for this video, guys. I hope these tips on how to settle in your new city helps you to embrace your new life, your new home, and your new city more. If you find this video useful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and turn on the notification bell so that whenever I put up a new video, you'll be the first to know. Also, if you know somebody who would find this video useful, don't hesitate to share it with them. You'll be doing them a lot of good. At least we can collaborate on helping somebody settle in seamlessly. I am at Gregory-jonah on all social media platforms. Hit the follow button and let's connect. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye everyone.